Well, we could not be more excited for the 2026 NTT IndyCar Series. 25 drivers, 18 races, and one title to be won. And it starts here this weekend on the streets of St. Petersburg. Silly season moves. Caio Collet jumps up from Indy Next into the 4-car at AJ Foyt Racing. David Malukas, probably one of the biggest signings along with Will Power at Andretti Global. Malukas takes over Power's number 12 car. Romain Grosjean is back in the championship. Dennis Hauger is promoted as Indy Next champion. Mick Schumacher, what a name to join the IndyCar Series, son, of course, of the 7-time Formula One world champion. And Rinus VeeKay moves to JHR and was immediately on the pace in pre-season testing. And yesterday, a top 10 time from him and looking very, very good. One guy out on track with major changes to test overnight is Will Power. Guys, two words we're probably going to hear a lot of today, moist and squishy. Moist because the track is still damp. There is a dry line, but it is wet offline. Squishy for those new soft tires this weekend. And when we say squishy, what entirely, James, are we talking about?
Well, I think the squishy feeling, the very scientific term there, is really just about the feeling the tire gives you through the sidewall. That softer construction. It's going to flex a little bit more when it's laterally loaded. When a car goes through the corner, when it's on the brakes, when it's on the power, you're going to feel it squish, essentially, compress a little bit more. And that can be a feeling that drivers don't like. You like that support out of a stiffer sidewall a lot of the time. So I think that's what these guys are talking about.
You may remember, folks, last year, the soft tire was the one that nobody really wanted to be on. It would only last for about 5 laps. This year, the construction has changed. The compound has changed. We're expecting a lot more running out of that tire, but will it provide the grip? Will it provide the feel? And that is the big question. On board with the 26 of Will Power. That's going to take some getting used to. Kevin with more.
So yesterday at the end of the session, I reported that Will said the car is just impossible. So we dug into that a little bit more. And that's because they were dealing with some brake issues. So it's not like the setup is way off, but that has been a little bit of a problem. Ron Brzezinski, who moved over from Team Penske to Will Power stand and running the Andretti organization, said this morning he really didn't get a feel for what he wants because of the issues with the brakes. So they're kind of leaning on what Kirkwood and Ericsson have, and they were strong yesterday, and that's what they're going to start with here in this session today.
Oh, straight into the wall for Will Power, just as we were saying that going out early could create some problems for you. Will, one of those drivers that absolutely had to, and it's not just a front wing, it's the front right suspension as well. That's going to be a major rebuild. He may not even get it back to pit lane, and he won't.
That is exactly what Graham Rahal was just talking about. And I was watching Will send it into the brakes in turn 10. I thought to myself, boy, there's a lot of grip available. And then he got mid-corner, and there was none, and that thing just pushed straight into the wall. James, this is pushing way too hard too soon.
Well, it was brake problems on the 26 yesterday that was kind of plaguing Will Power. And yeah, you could see there was some oil dry down there as well, and he missed the tire barrier, just got into the concrete, maximum damage.
Saw that left front locking up, but man, this is something you'd see out of a rookie. I mean, you'd want to do 3, 4, 5 laps and really understand the track surface, get the tires hot. You can see owner Dan Tauris, and he's just saying, damn.
If you want to know the challenge of this IndyCar Series, and we're going to get, I think, a reaction from Graham Rahal.
He's thinking,
glad I didn't go out.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm staying here. And big repairs now to the 26 with qualifying this afternoon. We're going to have a go, see what we can learn here on board with Rossi.
And of course, this session is about learning. It's the first race weekend of the season. The teams will have run changes over the winter. That's a little bit racy for an out lap on a wet track.
Well, Rossi, one of those guys keen to get out there to try to undo some of the issues they had yesterday, all the way down in 21st position for Alexander Rossi. His teammate Christian Rasmussen was up in P8. Not sure what held them back. Maybe it was not getting that lap on the soft tires late in the session, but Java House Machine looking to get some laps in early here. Only just over 30 minutes left in the session.
Just wanted to see how early Rossi was getting on the brakes there for turn 10 as he starts to get a feel for what the surface is like all the way around. He did complete 2 laps before the last red flag, so he's got a pretty good idea, and he does have tire temp, most likely.
That was pretty close coming out of 14. The track there, it cambers off so aggressively. It's so easy when the track's gripped up to get a big oversteer moment, clip that left rear, do a toe link. Never mind in these conditions.
And look at him working the wheel.
Oh, he's not hanging back too much.
But just think about it, guys. We talk about the driving in a concrete canyon when you're on a street circuit between the walls. Now between the walls, you've got to go between the damp patches. That 50 feet wide of racetracks now just come to about a 10-foot wide patch of dry racing line that you've got to stick to. You've got to be so precise in moments like this. But we talk about why it's so important. You can see he's so close.
Almost came through that final corner rear wing first.
But look, he just gets his rear tire onto that darker pavement where it's a little wet and it just starts to slide and it almost doesn't come back, leaving just enough room.
That's the tough bit, is if you spin up the rears on the dry, narrow path, well, then that outside rear is going to cross over into the damp section, and then it goes from bad to worse. So you don't get much help in terms of recovering the slip angle until you either lift or get some help from Mr. Concrete out there.
Now on board with Joseph Newgarden. Difficult day yesterday, difficult season last year. Big rebuild has taken place at Penske since all the controversies, of course, in 2024 and around the Indy 500 in 2025. It is a new look team behind the scenes. It's a new look team from behind the wheel as well, of course, with David Malukas joining over the off-season. Joseph Newgarden stays on board, but this could be a very important season for him, believed to be a contract year for Joseph Newgarden. Scott McLaughlin, his teammate, fastest yesterday. He's given that inside curve on the penultimate corner a little bit more grace today.
And here's what's really holding some of these teams back as we go on to the Fox driver's eye camera with Pato through turn 6, 7 into turn 8 here. Right now, Rossi is the quickest at a 1:02.6. He's a second and a half off McLaughlin's fast time from yesterday. So what are teams really going to learn at a track that's a second and a half off when the next time they're out there is qualifying? That's why Alex Palou is sitting on his pit stand, calm. He knows the last time he drove this car, it was on softs. He knew what the track was. He knew what the car was. He was happy with it. I mean, he was just a little bit over a tenth of a second off the fastest time, so he's confident.
Something this driver's eye is showing us, something that I can see out of the window. Streaks of blue sky starting to appear from behind the clouds. The sun starting to peek out. This track will start to dry out a lot faster now.
Just love that camera. I'm excited to see more of that this season as we now get eyes on the rookie, Mick Schumacher, for RLL.
Now, this is the tale of a totally different end of the spectrum here with, Alex Palou sitting. We get it. He's happy with his car. Maybe not much to learn. Pato Ward maybe just out there feeling out a few small changes before he starts to push. But for Mick Schumacher, even if the track is a second and a half off right now, this is really important laps to just get mileage at St. Pete where you can't come and test and just understand the percussion of how the car rides the bumps, all the sight lines. The more Mick Schumacher runs along with the other rookies in Collette and Hauger, the better off you're going to be. So I fully support rookies running in these conditions for that reason. There's way more to gain for these guys right now.
Yeah, it's all mileage, it's all laps. Every lap you do, you're learning something, and there's going to be other days, like you say, that we're going to have mixed conditions like this sometimes in a race. So you just got to get out there and experience everything that IndyCar can throw at you.
An impressive first day for Mick Schumacher yesterday. Oh, as we get somebody going deep. Is that Grosjean or Helga?
I believe that's Grosjean.
It's not Grosjean with VK's face.
It's Grosjean. Mick Schumacher yesterday, first time ever on a street circuit in this car, first time ever at St. Pete. Did a 102.1. His teammate Louis Foster, a 102.1. His other teammate Graham Rahal, guess what? A 102.1.
There you go.
Oh! 6 wins, and that's a big crash.
Rasmussen?
That is Rasmussen.
That's a Weird place to have a wreck. I mean, to be stopped in the middle, that's entering turn 3.
Unless he got off onto a wet part of the track.
Oh, boy.
But I'm just trying to see, based on the front end damage there.
We've had 3 huge crashes so far.
It doesn't look like there's any damage on the right-hand side. So this is coming through turn 1. Into turn 2.
Oh.
He's gone. He's gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's big.
Man, he's almost lucky he didn't catch the right rear on that wall, driver's right.
There's no such thing as a good crash, but when you go perfectly head on into that nose cone that is designed perfectly for a straight impact and absorbing the shock without damaging the rest of the car, that's about as lucky as you can get in terms of a street circuit crash. If you're going to have one, that's what you want it to look like. That should be a simple nose cone replacement.
Just over 8 minutes remain here in St. Petersburg. We are back to green flag running, and we are riding on board with Scott Dixon, who brought out the red flags yesterday with the crash down at turn 9. He's back out on the hard compound tire, getting a feel for this race track. Alexander Rossi, still your fastest man on a 102.638. Then Newgarden, VK, O'Ward, and rookie Dennis Hauger.
So as a driver, if you're Scott Dixon, you've got all that experience. Your car has been fully repaired overnight. You know, some of the first things you're looking for are just simply the basics on the steering wheel. Is this thing driving straight down the straightaway? Are my hands perfectly level? Toe looks good right here. Okay, now I've got confidence. That box has been checked. Whoa, what's this racetrack doing now? It's still damp in places. Going to grab a short shift right there, try to smooth out the power delivery. There's so many things that Dixon's just working through on this first outlap right here. Okay, going to come up on the rookie. We know that's Kyle Collette. Dixon, such a master at processing all this information while he's driving 180 miles an hour on a street circuit. Watching those smooth, steady hands, and he's just making sure he's got everything he needs to push when they get closer to qualifying this afternoon.
Talking of qualifying, getting reports back from our own Bob Pockrass that Will Power's team, Will Power, who brought out a red earlier in this session with a big crash right into that wall on the right-hand side. They might save the soft reds and just use the hards for qualifying, knowing full well they're likely to be at the back of the pack anyway.
I don't know why you'd commit to that. I mean, it's Will Power we're talking about. 9-time pole winner, 8-time pole starter. I mean, he's
71-time pole record holder.
Exactly. I get the mentality, but that's only if you believe there's still going to be a fundamental issue with the car. If you're confident that you can get the brake issue sorted, you can copy and paste the setup from Kirkwood and Ericsson, both of which were very quick yesterday to put onto that car. As Dixon gets that move done on the McLaren, you got to at least try one set in Q1 to go for it.
Car he just passed, that of Christian Lundgaard, the fastest McLaren driver from yesterday. Pato O'Ward down in 12th, Nolan Siegel down in 20th. McLaren, who had a tough off-season, a very busy off-season. They've moved factory. Dixon gets the moves done. Very, very busy off-season, very tough off-season for them. Their testing did not go as well as they had hoped, starting this season a touch on the back foot, but hoping to be able to take the fight to the likes of Ganassi and Penske.
Boy, it didn't take long for Dixon to turn the page on yesterday's crash. He ran through that mental checklist on the outlap, maybe the first flyer, but he has absolutely passed and dumped Christian Lundgaard there, put about a second or two on him in one lap. As we go to his teammate, Alex Palou, let's see how aggressive he is on these opening laps.
Thanks, Jack. Kyle Collette down into the escape road down here at turn 1. Local yellows out for that. It sounds like he switched the engine off. So I don't know if there's an issue or if there was a lockup. Let's have a look. Oh, gets very...
Oh, that was a tire.
Left rear.
Is that left rear? I think
the upright might have failed.
As he hit the wall.
I think the suspension broke.
But yeah, could that come from contact somewhere on the racetrack? But just watch right here.
Good eyes.
Fails.
Good eyes.
So yeah, we're hearing there may have been a tap You can see some paint on the edge there of the floor.
3.
Oh, it's not huge.
No, but you saw the tire wiggle a little bit. And any kind of movement, that's because something's no longer attached the way it should be.
Practice on board with yesterday's fastest man, Scott McLaughlin.
Is it too early to declare that this championship's going to be McLaughlin versus Palou down the stretch?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go ahead and do it.
I can safely declare that, you know, he's not as good at fantasy football as he thinks he is. But he's a pretty handy golfer. I'll give him that. And he's pretty handy with a steering wheel in his hands. Look, he's twice a pole sitter here. Got his first career win here. Was in the fight for the win here last year for a bit of a strategy blunder. As we go back to my favorite camera, the driver's eye on the brakes. Let's ride along for a little bit here with Scott McLaughlin around St. Pete. This is what the driver's seeing on the top, what the nose cam of the car is seeing on the bottom. One gives you the visceral experience, the violence of being kicked around here in a street circuit. The lower one just gives you a real sense of the speed.
How scary to be the nose cam. Right up there, taking the air and the concrete head on. Like a tail gunner.
Dixon, Power, Foster, Rasmussen, they've all already shown their oh, a little bit of a wide moment there for McLaughlin.
Yeah, pushed way wide.
You could just see the complexity of the steering wheel in IndyCar. The display, the dash, giving you so much information to the driver. You see all the dials, all the buttons. There's paddles on the back, not just for shifting and clutch, for hybrid deployment and regeneration. There's a lot going on in the cockpit of an IndyCar that a driver's managing, just, you know, not just over a lap, over a stint, over a race. Lots of things changing.
Back with a vengeance. Grosjean has taken a pole position at this track in the past. Ericsson has won on this track in the past.
2023, this driver of the Delaware Life Machine for Andretti Global took the win to open the season strong. As his teammate now, Kyle Kirkwood, fights back to Rinus VeeKay, 1:01.7. Now we're seeing the time start to get back to what we saw yesterday, and this is still on the hards, not the softs.
Right now, is this hard to watch for Will Power, given the pace that's coming out of those cars, or does it actually give him a little bit of faith that, hey, you know what, this car has intrinsic pace?
He knows that from yesterday, Will. He is absolutely kicking himself right now. And I'm sure Ron Rzuski also thinking, why did we go? Why didn't we just wait until the track came here? But you can be an expert in arrears all day long. The fact is, they're going to have to just kind of deal with it, get to qualifying, and make it work. So, but yeah, it's brutal. If you're Will Power right now, you're watching your teammates out there. Track's almost perfectly dry.
I got to be honest, I'll tell you what looks good about this Andretti car is the way they're able to get to throttle. Marcus can be very aggressive out of turn 10. I noticed it out of the final corner, even though he had a little correction there. He's got a lot of confidence in his right foot.
Right there, too, out of one. It was just about a half throttle input, 50% on the first stab. To your point, that's a driver very confident with the back end of the car, really able to plant the rear end and get good drive off.
And that's something I know that Marcus loves as a driver. He likes that planted rear. It's something that he had in the Ganassi car. He's really been trying to search for that magic fix with this Andretti setup to kind of give him the feel that he really likes. Kirkwood, heard of the last 2 years, they've been able to kind of wrestle around a car that was maybe a little less secure, a little less stable. But Marcus trying to push the team in a direction of, hey, look, I know that can be fast, but it can also feel different and be maybe faster still and have a wider margin, a wider window to find performance. How much jumps up to P3?
He's right on board for the first time this weekend with Santino Ferrucci. New helmet design for him. A little bit of Top Gun inspiration, I think, going on there. You won't miss the AJ Foyt cars this year. Very much nationality-inspired liveries as Ferrucci just runs deep down there into 10. Spins it around and gets going again. The stars and stripes of Ferrucci, the yellow, green, blue, and white of Caio Collette's, very Brazilian inspired.
Smart move for Ferrucci. You can see he thought for just a second, I might make the corner, and the moment he thought he might be at risk, he bailed, took the overshoot, now back on track as Joseph Newgarden wide in turn 1.
Hey man, that's a guy we haven't really heard much from this session. He sits 11th right now in the combined times, 8th in this first group, but we've not heard a lot from him. We've been talking about his teammate Scott McLaughlin. That pace has been there, but both him and David Malukas a little bit quieter in this first or second practice session.
Watching David Malukas here through turn 9. You know, yesterday he was really hustling. It looked like he was gelling very well with his race car and his new team. This is what I'm talking about. High commitment right here. And for me, I know it's early and I get excited about the upcoming season, but that to me was look out. David Malukas is going to win races this year. He's going to be a factor. He's healthy. That hand is fully healed. He's with his dream team, dream situation. And that little moment right there told me he is ready to perform.
For those of you new to IndyCar, David Malukas has had a really rough ride of it over his time in the championship, always highly regarded. He signed a contract to race for McLaren in IndyCar until he injured his hand and promptly lost that seat. It looked like his IndyCar career, his dream, was over until he was picked up last year, a little bit wide, by AJ Foyt Racing, and managed to get himself back on the radar. On board with Nolan Siegel, courtesy of NTT Data, looking back at a driver who has a huge amount of pressure on him this season. His team principal Tony Kanaan saying he needs a top 10 finish in the championship if he's to hold on to his seat, as Simpson goes second, but Siegel is flying. Best of all, Sector 1. Personal bests, Sector 2 and 3 take him closer to the top, a 102.245, just 0.04 of a second off the time of Alexander Rossi. Decent so far. And all 3 McLaren drivers in the top 10 in the group session. That's what Tony Kanaan needs to see from this guy.
Yeah, and I think Tony was, you know, candid. I think Nolan Siegel, when we talked to him earlier this year, he's like, I wasn't surprised to hear that. I know that that's the expectation, not only from the team, that's what I expect of myself. That's why I'm here, not just part of the show. I'm going to contend, and you know, he understands the expectation. It's the same thing he puts on himself. So, Jack, tell us more about Nolan Siegel.
Townsend, he spent quite a lot of time this off-season just racing a variety of different cars. He said one of the things that he found from an experience perspective was just that fun again. And it's so underrated when a driver can just hop in, go out there, feel loose, not try and worry about the performances. Obviously, that's a huge part of what we all do, but literally just go out there and have fun. He said that that was the best part of his entire off-season, walking into this new season with a little extra pep in his step, trying to shut out the noise, just focus on the job in hand. And also, feasibly, this guy could have been in the Fast 6 in qualifying, so he has speed at St. Pete as well.
Sun is out.
I was just going to say that Papaya McLaren popping in the sun as Lundgaard starts to back off. I think Alex Palou is just behind him, but getting a nice answer on Alexander Rossi. Super encouraging for him to go 1:01.7. That matches the quickest times from Kirkwood and McLaughlin in the last group. So Rossi and ECR demonstrating that confidence that they conveyed to us in our preseason interviews about, hey, we found some stuff on the street circuits. It's backing up right now.
Certainly had the pace on ovals, but have they found that silver bullet for street courses and road courses? Rossi driving with that confidence. So it's Lundgaard, Palou, Rossi, Siegel, Simpson, and Armstrong, as Armstrong just jumps up to second place. I think there's a little wall brush. Yes, a little rear left wall brush for Nolan Siegel. We saw the damage that did to Caio Collette earlier on today. 6. Scott Dixon down in 11th, I'm hearing has gone off track. 102.7. So
Hey, I didn't squash the bug. I didn't squash him. I just flicked him away. He still lives. He lives to go visit someone else.
What did he do wrong? Why couldn't he
nothing
just
wrong.
chill there? Pato was enjoying the ladybug.
There is Dixon running deep, making the most of that runoff. And bringing it back, but not challenging the top times, although he is on a personal best lap at the moment, a 21.7 Sector 1, 20.0 Sector 2. Dixon on a far better lap for him. Where will this place him in the 11 drivers taking part in this session? He'll cross the line momentarily, and we will be able to tell you Scott Dixon only to 9th